On the northern border of Park Ridge, adjoining Montvale, is a body of water known as Electric Lake. But 100 years ago, it wasn't called Electric Lake. In fact, 100 years ago, it wasn't even there. Just the Pascack Brook, a large tributary feeding into the Hackensack River. But in 1904, the world was changing. Electricity was the new thing. And the 10-year-old borough of Park Ridge decided to build a power plant and generate electricity for the use of its residents. So they sold $15,000 in bonds, dammed the brook, built a power plant, and the age of electricity in Park Ridge and the Pascack Valley was born. 100 years later, they are now celebrating the centennial of the Park Ridge Electric Department. And what better way to do that than to reopen the power plant as a museum? Let's go inside and meet Bill Beatty, Director of Operations for the Park Ridge Board of Public Works, and find out more about this fascinating history project. Bill, good to see you. Thanks for being on the show.
And welcome, Ned.
Quite a facility that you have here. Tell me a little bit about why, after all this time, you've decided to renovate this and open it up as a museum.
Well, 2004 is actually the celebration of our 100th anniversary for the electric department. We started our electric utility 100 years ago, and about a year and a half ago or so, the board that governs this utility, the Park Ridge Board of Public Works, talked about things we could do, and one idea came up as to renovate this building and turn it into, a historical museum, to demonstrate the history of the Park Ridge electric utility.
Okay, the electric utility started in 1904 when this dam was built and the power station was created, right? That
is correct. Yeah, back in 1904, they allocated funds to purchase property, build a dam, and build the hydro generating plant, and to run a distribution system into the town, and which is when the electric utility was started.
What was the original electricity used for in those days? What was the first use of it?
Originally, if you track through the years, originally in the first year there were about 8 customers, plus street lighting. So they first ran a circuit, they lit the streets, and then they added some customers, and then each year more customers were added, and as more customers were added, they had to supplement some of the plant, to generate the electricity, and then eventually they needed to purchase some power because there just wasn't enough power available.
Bill, who were some of the people that were involved in creating this project and seeing it through to its completion?
Well, as I said, the Park Ridge Board of Public Works, which is a 6-member advisory board to the mayor and council, really was the people behind the idea of the project. George Meem, the president of the Board of Public Works, was really the driving force. He really was interested in making this happen. So he appointed a committee of people from the board and also some from the town, including Barbara Martine, who's a councilwoman involved in the history of Park Ridge. And also we got the help from Celeste Miller, who is a teacher in Eastbrook, and we thought it would be good to have her, because when we eventually get this museum up and running, we want to kind of gear it towards kids and teaching them about electricity and the history of Park Ridge.
Bill, tell me a little bit about some of the exhibits that are planned for this space.
Yeah, basically we have kind of set this up so that there'll be kind of a circular path around the building, and we're going to start, with the, some old history of Park Ridge and the electric utility. We plan to have a few computer kiosk screens that will show pictures and try to explain how hydroelectricity works. We plan to have another kiosk more geared towards linemen and distribution, pole climbing. When you get towards the end, towards this side, we actually plan to have an operating model of a hydroelectricity plant. So we'll have a big water wheel, and we'll be generating electricity, have a little toy, move or operate. On this side, we plan to have old metering, get the electric meters through the years, let kids turn a switch, let the meters, see them run, see them operate. And
so it'll actually be an interactive, sort of hands-on.
Yeah, interactive, hands-on. As the people exit the building, they'll see into our well that we have connected to this building, and then we'll maybe get into some more futuristic renewable energy, windmills, etc., solar power.
Bill, I see a large plexiglass viewing port to my left here. Tell me a little bit about that and what role that's going to play in the museum.
Okay, yeah, this is a viewing port so that as the tour goes through, people will be able to look down at our the hydro generating plant. Not only do we want to renovate this museum, we also actually would like to get an operating hydro generator in here and actually generate electricity.
Bill, tell me about some of the exhibits that are going to be in the display cases that we see around in the museum.
We've collected from our shop a lot of old lineman tools, testing tools, distribution equipment. Our president of our board was able to come up with an old Edison lamp. We have old metering equipment. So basically, anything that we can find related to electricity and distribution, we plan to have in here. We have a lot of old pictures that we'll have up. We'll try to have educational, information also on how electricity is created and things like that.
Okay, I guess unfortunately there's no video or film from the early days.
No, there is no video or film. I mean, the best we can do is some pictures,
Bill, when do you think the museum will be completed and open to the public, and how do you think it will be used?
I'm predicting more probably, in the spring of 2005 that we will actually open the place up. And we haven't really decided in detail what our plans are going to be, but I would imagine some type of open house. We also will have scheduled tours for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, other organizations. And again, I would imagine we probably will have throughout the year some open house days where people can just come and visit.
Bill, thank you for giving us a tour of this great facility that you've created.
Thank you for coming. I also would like to thank all the people that were involved in this project, the Board of Public Works, the Mayor and Council, Peter Wells, Celeste Miller, who's helped quite a bit, and especially I'd like to thank the staff of the electric and water departments, DPW. They've done a lot of work to move this project along. They've done work at the site, they've done work gathering up the artifacts, and it's been a team effort to get this facility going, and I think it's going to be a great place for the people in town to come and enjoy the history of Park Ridge.
We look forward to the opening, the grand opening. Hopefully we can tie it in with Community History Month, which is going to be this coming May of 2005. Maybe even your grand opening will fall in that time period. If not, we'll have some sort of events here. And just appreciate your showing this to us.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Well, you're welcome. We'll keep you, our viewers, apprised of the progress in the museum, and I hope that all of you at some point in 2005 will have a chance to come down here and see what electricity generation was like 100 years ago and how Park Ridge led the way in that particular area in the Pascack Valley.